So welcome back, another episode in the Shed Builder series. We've been to Duratuf and had a look at how they make these sheds previously.
We have, yep.
Been out to site here, used some of their technology, the Shed Builder, had a look at the shed basically in not virtual reality, AR,
yep.
Augmented reality, and basically went through the configuration process. So today's the day.
That we finally get to build this thing.
Yeah, I know, and it's,
I'm really excited. I think it's going to turn out really good.
Yeah, so what we've done is
we've spent 45 minutes leveling the site. So I reckon that's really important. Make sure that your site is pretty level before you start building, because you know, if it's not level, your shed's going to be like this.
Yeah,
so spend the time, I reckon.
Yeah, Duratuf say there's a couple of ways to do it. First, and I guess the most preferential, is just get your ground level. Or you can use blocks to do it if you do need to build it up in certain areas. We've gone with leveling the dirt because we could. It was nice and easy to do here, but you're right, 45 minutes. And I probably spent about 2 hours just working on this area the other day as well.
Time spent now is way easier, I reckon, than time spent later on when you're 4 hours deep into building this thing and you've had enough, and then all of a sudden you put it together and you go,
oh, it's not sitting flat.
Oh, it's not level.
Yeah, so we've got the area prepped. What we'll do is we'll show you the bits that we've got sitting around. The way that we build this shed is essentially in 3 steps. So we build all of the framing, then we put all of the sides, the doors, the roofs, the gutters, everything on, and then lastly comes the floor kit, which goes in. So bring you over, we'll show what we've got here for the framing kit, and we'll get cracking. All right, so your Duratuf shed's going to come in 3 separate boxes if you've gone with the optional floor kit. So this is the first, and I think probably the most important bit. This is the timber framing kit, which is going to give us a really stable shed. Is
bit of cladding and stuff.
We do. So inside there, they pack all of that in.
That's actually quite smart, because the framing sort of acts as like bracing for the cladding and stuff on the inside there. So basically, so it doesn't bend. So that's a real smart packaging feature. Floor's over there.
Yep. So we've got the floor, KL3 floor sitting just over here. And then
that's actually guttering and stuff, I think, and they're not cladding.
Guttering in there. We've got the flooring kit, and then way down this way, we'll actually walk you to it. So then we've got what Duratuf call the master pack. So this is all of the cladding. Inside here we've got all of the roof sheets, the wall cladding, we've got the hardware as well, the doors, and everything's all packed nicely in there. This has been stored outside following Duratuf's instructions, while all of the wood has been stored inside to prevent it from swelling. It's one way to nice and easy unpack it.
So to start off, you probably need to open up that cladding box, because that's where all your hardware's stored.
Yeah, so what we've got
in there... If you went
back
and had a look at the first video where we were at Duratuf, you could see that the hardware comes all nicely packaged.
So we've got all our flooring nails in here. This is essentially all the hardware within there. So we've got all our tacking nails, all of our screws, looks like hinges and everything in that kit there as well, along with the hardware kit, so we know exactly how many bits we've got. So we've got our rivet tool, which we will need shortly. We've got our touch-up paint that you're so excited about.
Yeah, that's for when you ruin it all.
And then we also have an instruction booklet here, so assembly instructions. What we've actually got at the moment as well, so we've got the iPad set up, just sitting up here, because this is available in a PDF version as well, which is really handy because you can actually go and zoom into certain bits of the instructions, but essentially this is this. So handy to have a paper copy that we can have sitting here as well. I would say so.
And then
that will lay down at that end as well. But it says do one end first or something. But yeah, so we're building like that.
Is that right?
That would make sense. Because we've got one at the top, one at the bottom.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, so back to the master pack. We've already taken the instructions and all of the hardware out of here. Time to get some of our cladding. Start with cladding, roof sheets later.
Happy for me to rip?
Yeah, rip it away. Alright, so we've got all of our cladding on now, so that didn't actually take an awful long time. What does take the time is going around and doing all of your finishing nails on the top. So we've got 2 for each rib here, and either side of the rib, 2 per panel in between. We've got that top, we've got that bottom. We do have to go around and do that through the midsection of the shed. However, we might run a chalk line there, ping it, and then we'll be able to get a nice uniform finish, because those are the ones you're going to see. You're probably not going to see the floor ones because you're going to potentially have dirt or landscaping up to there. The top ones will be covered by the flashings as well. So really for us, next step is to work our way on the flashing. So all of these corner flashings, get those on, and then it's moving into the roof stage. The weather's looking like it might pack in a little bit, so hopefully we can at least get roof on, but flashings are next. Right, so we started on our flashings. So the first 2 flashings for us to get on are the side of our door panels. And what you need to do with your, what's it called, a rivet tool, rivet tool. So we needed to change our fitting. So the one here is the one that we needed to load up. They're all specific to sizes. So essentially the way that this is going to work is we're going to pop our rivet in the end here, and then as we squeeze this together, this will rivet this inside, join our 2 panels of steel together, and then this will snap off. So without
so we need to rivet those door panels,
and we had to fix,
which we've pre-drilled, and we also need to go around and rivet where we've got a join, and I'll show you where a join is. So a join is,
I think we have one right here.
Right here. So we're gonna rivet those bits together as well, and that's what it says to do there. So
we can just get these, slip them in. You want to push that all the way in.
Did it come out?
Yep, came out. Oh, we haven't made a noise there though. There we go. And then what we can do to check that we've got that in, on ones like these, you can feel that on that side and feel that that has clamped.
Sweet, so we're just going to go around and we're going to do that, and we're also going to do it to all of our join bits.
Yeah, so we've got quite a few joints to work our way around here, so I don't know, we've got a bag of rivets here. There's a good few in there. So just rinse and repeat here. Day 2 on the project today. So what we managed to get done to finish up before we stopped for the day yesterday was all of our corner flashings. They're all on around the shed. We've obviously got our over door one here as well. If you come around to the door section, we've got our top and our bottom plates on, and then we've also managed to fix our door. So we had to put our top rail, we've got our bottom rail on, and then we've fixed our door as well. So it's sliding really nicely when we get here. What you can do is, you've got a little bit of play in it. Duratuf recommend that you bring this up 3 mil from where this door would just naturally hang, so you don't get anything catching on here. What we've got is the door sliding really nicely in this position here. Where we're at now is we're pretty much ready to start affixing the roof panels on here. So the way that we do this is we will essentially lay them all out, fixing them with rivets. And then once we've got them all connected together, all riveted, We then line everything up, the ribs on the roofing panels with the ribs on the front of the shed, and then we can fix it down using screws front and back. So we'll set up the tripod, we'll go on a time lapse again, and we'll put this roof together.
Now you're going to put your string line across here, and that's what we've found is put a string line on one end along the other side, and that's going to give you a nice straight line to drill those in. We're also found that a little bit of pre-drill before we put those roofing screws in just really helps that a little bit, makes it a bit easier, eh?
Yeah, definitely. So pre-drilling 3.5mm bit, just so when you do drive the screw, you're only just piercing through the metal, going straight into the wood, rather than having to spin all the way around and having to try and have it self-tap into there. And we run the string line along the outside, so we know we're not having to move it every time we do this. We can just go right next to it. And this just makes the job so much quicker. And more importantly, accurate. Right, so roof's all on, so the next piece for us to do are the 4 barge flashings. So we've got 2 long bits to run along the front and the back, and then our pieces that run along the side of this gable. So essentially the way that these work is they slide on here, or sit on here, and what they're doing is they are covering up obviously the gap that we have in here, but also all of our fixings along here and the exposed wood. So it just really tidies up that finish. That sits alongside. And then the way it interjoins, if I pull that down onto the ground, is we have the front piece. And what will happen is that this will essentially sit on top of, butt up on the edge, and then we're riveting each corner to start with. So we'll jump up on the ladder, get this piece up, sit this one on, and we'll start riveting. Alright, so we've got all of our gutters and our flashings on around the top. So our shed is pretty much in its constructed form right now. So if you didn't opt for a flooring kit, this is exactly what your finished shed would look like. Obviously what we do still need to do is go around, peel off the protective plastic that we've left on here throughout the building process, and then obviously give it a really good clean down as well. Make any final tweaks that you want to make along the way. But what we do have is a flooring kit to install in here, and if you didn't have that, that's what your floor would look like. So you wouldn't go with your flooring kit if you did want it down on the dirt or the mud, or you were putting it down on hypothetically a concrete slab or some other hard surface. So we've got all of our boards, essentially they're fencing pails, and we do have to notch out a few cuts around the studs within the shed here. So really easy way to do this. We're going to lay our first board here. We're going to take our measurement. So we're about 45, and then we pull this to the end. We're going to mark off 45. I'm just going to draw a line.
It's pretty dark in there, we can't really see, but
when I pull this out, what you'll see on here is I've made my notches. So if If you look
It's
right
just
there.
essentially so we can go around that post, corner post there.
Correct.
Notched it out.
The old trusty Ryobi tool. So we're, instead of using a jigsaw here, we're just using the multi-tool. And we'll just notch these out.
So there we are, there's that cut that's in there, I don't know if you can see. And that's just to fit around that joint, and then we've got another cut on this side to fit around there, and now the rest of the board should lay out all the way here until we get to a piece like that, and then the same around this door area where we're going to have to notch a bit out. And it does come with it does say to nail this in, but we're going to use some decking screws just because it's going to be a bit quicker because you're sick of nailing.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that it's easier to pull them out. So if we decide we want to change the positioning of the shed, we can just pull those screws out and we'll drive them back out, and then we can pop the boards up, which is an easier way to do it than trying to use a crowbar or prying up.
And also if we get a broken board, then we can just screw that one out. So that's a decision we've made, not necessarily what is in the instructions for Duratuf.
Boom. So no need to pre-drill on the pine either. Just go straight in.
Alright, so there we have it. We've just basically completed building the Duratuf shed, the KL3 version. And it's a bit wet because we've just rinsed off all that dirt and stuff. We've had quite a lot of dust travel through here throughout the last couple of days, so we do need to remove some of this plastic off these flashings here. We have taken some off just to see what it looks like here at the top, but these pillars and things like that need the plastic, and it just pulls off quite nicely, so that's not going to be too much of a job, I don't think.
No, that should be nice and easy. The other thing that we do need to do is just attach some of the door hardware. That should be a nice and easy job as well.
You've got a lock, I think, here to go.
Really nice flashing. I quite like the look of that as you're stepping into the shed. And then obviously you've got your timber flooring, which runs all the way down the end. And then we've obviously notched out, very, very dark in here, but we've notched out around our points here. And definitely feels really rigid.
One thing that I really do like is that when you're building the shed, all your workings end up being covered up by all the flashing. So up in here is all the joins and things like that. It's all covered by this flashing, so you can't actually see where you've done your work. You do get a couple there, but if you come further back here, all underneath there is all covered. So that's a really nice little feature that Duratuf had thought about there to really complete the project.
Correct, and they butt up really nicely together there, all of these flashings. Same when we come down this end. Like everything, just the fit and finish comes together quite well. Given that there's so many different tolerances that you can have on this shed as you're building it, like it all fits together really nicely. And you're right, once we get all of this plastic, you can see some of that hanging off the back there. Once it's all off, the issue with trying to clean this right now is that all around the shed we've got a lot of dirt. So the plan here is to weed mat this whole area, bring in some stones, some stepping stones as well to get into the shed there. And at that point then you'll be able to clean it because we're getting a lot of dust blowing through here. But overall, pretty fun build process. I think if it's just the two of you and you've never built one before,
it's not going up in a couple of hours.
No.
Take the weekend. At points when you're flipping the frame over and things like that, you do need extra hands, you do need a ladder, and you do need a decent amount of tools to try and put this together, especially when you're cutting, little nooks and stuff out on the timber and things like that. So be prepared would be my biggest piece of advice for you, and just take your time with it.
So next step for us with a shed is to do fit off interior wise. So that's bringing all of our Ryobi tools inside. We'll probably have a Bunnings trip there where we go and get a shelving unit. And basically we set up the shed inside to be a good resource for us to go to when we work on other projects, where it's nice and easy, everything's organised, and we can go and find the tool that we need really quickly. Because I don't know about you, but quite frustrating not having this together this weekend when we're going, oh hang on, where are the wire snips? where are various
Yeah.
tools, having to chase them around. So
It'd be nice when it's all hanging in there, and then when we do another project, know where everything is, and everything's allocated to a specific spot. So once again, thanks Duratuf for setting out this shed. We're really happy with how it's turned out, and that caps off this part of the series. So stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching.